Welcome to the LowCarbMD podcast. No one is beyond help. No one is beyond hope.
As we have always said, we are bringing you medical information and cutting-edge science, but none of this is medical advice. Please seek out input from your own doctor.
Hello and welcome back to the Low Carb MD podcast. Unfortunately, Tro is tied up this morning, so I get this great guest that we've been trying to get on for a little while, but our schedules are all crazy and everything. Charles Mattocks, welcome, man. So awesome to have you.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of Reverse. So all of our friends have been on your show, man.
Yeah,
and I know you're doing some great stuff. So tell people your story about you, how you started out, how you got to where you are now.
Wow, it's a long story. I mean, but started out obviously in film and television and music actually. I don't like to drop names, but I guess I'll drop a name. You know, the nephew of the late legendary Bob Marley. So that was my inspiration to want to do something really cool in the world. And I kind of started off in music, then from music to film, started some major TV shows and movies, and then from that to producing and things like that. And then I moved from Los Angeles to be a single dad. And my son came up with this great concept of making healthy, affordable meals for under $7. And I was like, wow, so I started this whole cooking thing. And, not that I'm a chef or anything like that, but it just was something to do while I was in Florida. And it just took off. And it did kind of align me with this healthy brand, this healthy thing, even though I knew nothing really about, health per se. And then when I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, probably about 13 years ago, it kind of really woke me up and made me kind of want to look into the world of health. And I wanted to create a documentary, a docuseries or something that I thought I would put on local TV. And that kind of just snowballed into me wanting to create this piece and then wanting to put it on television. But then as I started to get deeper and deeper into the world of diabetes and pharmaceutical and nutraceutical and healthcare, it just opened up so much. And it kind of led me on this path of wanting to be a major face in diabetes and in health. And one thing led to another, from that to TV shows and documentaries. And that's kind of how I'm here right now.
Yeah, and then you came up with the idea for Reverse in Jamaica of all places, which is you have some roots there for sure.
Of course. Well, what happened is, while I also created the first ever RV testing unit. So I was in Walmart one day and I saw the big red bus that collects blood. And I thought, well, why isn't there one of these for diabetes? We should be testing people for diabetes. So I teamed up with a company called Shire, a biopharmaceutical company, and said, hey, I got an idea to do this. And they were like, wow, we love this idea. So while I was on the road with them, I realized, and we were doing TV every morning, but I said, man, you know what? I'm not really reaching the amount of people that I should be reaching. I want to reach more. How can I reach more? So I thought, well, a great way would be if I created a television series that was seen in everyone's household, where those who are dealing with diabetes or complications or whatever it may be associated to diabetes, that they could sit right in the comfort of their own home and get educated by nutritionists, doctors, endocrinologists, diabetes educators. The list goes on, and everything from exercise, the whole body. So I came up with that. I shot the pilot and sat on it for probably about 10 months because I really didn't know what to do with it. And then lo and behold, I met somebody who worked in television and was able to shop the show to a few networks. And he said, hey, we've got, Discovery that's interested. And I was like, wow. So at that point, now it was, well, all right, I got a television network. What do I do? So I had to try to figure out how to raise the money. So I literally locked myself away for about 3 weeks and literally called everyone in diabetes that I could imagine to call. And Brian, I tell you, I got denied by 99.9% of everybody. When you think that, some of these companies, I hate to, just be honest, when you think some of these companies that are in diabetes, whether they're meat companies, whether they're, pharmaceutical companies, whether they're food companies, whatever it may be, testing companies, you think, okay, man, they got to be interested in this. We're going to do something different and amazing and life-changing, and we're going to all work together. And you just get no after no after no after no. And lo and behold, I bumped into somebody who mentioned that they had talked to Mike from he's the CEO of Mankind, which makes Afrezza, the inhaled insulin, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm interested." And I hounded him for probably a month and a half, and we finally did the deal, and that was able to get this thing where it needs to be. So that's how we got the whole thing kind of started right there.
Yeah, and you're up against it because you're the two biggest advertisers are going to be pharma and big food. And so those guys look at this and go, wait a minute, this, if we sponsor this, is going to hurt our business. It's going to hurt our bottom line. Right. And so either one is happy if pharma's happy if the people are eating terrible food and then they need all their drugs, and then the other people are happy the other way. Right. So it's one of those things like eat all of our stuff and then you can just shoot some of this to get rid of the sugar. And that's the big problem I think we see. In some of our governing bodies, there's a conflict of interest that's very, very tough to overcome.
Yeah, no, you're right. And let me tell you, when I came up with the name Reversed, it wasn't about reversing diabetes. What happened with me is I realized that when I went home, I had to look in the mirror when I was diagnosed. And I looked in the mirror, Brian, I said, okay, number one, dude, you got to lose some weight. And, I was hitting the gym on a regular basis, and I said, you got to stop all that heavy weight lifting, no cardio. You got to stop, the way I was eating. And I literally did just that. I couldn't figure out what diet to use because the internet was so convoluted. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do God's diet. I'm going to have some lean meat, some fresh vegetables, and some fruit and some water. That's what I knew back then.
So you basically cut out all the processed food and ate real food.
Exactly. And I started walking. And I tell you, I probably lost 20 pounds in about a month. That, no joke. It was literally just can't. Basically, I think I was doing keto without realizing I was doing keto or low carb. That's really but I had to look in the mirror and look at me first to make those changes. And I think that, so when I looked at the word reverse, it was really about changing the mental, physical, and spiritual, emotional state of the person. Because, once we bring them into that house, it's not a ton of information per se on what to eat, what not to eat. We all know what we should and shouldn't be eating. When we're sitting in that McDonald's line waiting for our turn, we know we shouldn't be eating that. So it really at times is about inspiration and also education. So the name wasn't to reverse diabetes. So it was shocking when, like I said, this was before all the big companies who were talking about reversing type 2 diabetes came out. And man, I would get knocked by writers in diabetes. I would get knocked by almost anyone who thought, and I would explain it. And even then they would still knock me. They're like, how could you, the reverse and this, that, and the other thing. Now everybody's doing it. Everybody's saying it. Big companies are emerging, bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars to reverse type 2 diabetes. So, and it's ironic, not to keep talking, but, and I know you might mention Reverse the Church, but I reached out to somebody who I had seen a bunch of times. And I guess I don't want to call them out, but they work with the ADA right now. And, they're somewhat of a small D-level celebrity, right? So I sent them Reverse the Church, and they sent me an email back yesterday. They were like, well, I really can't promote your program because, I work with the ADA, and that name Reverse the Church, I think it kind of brings like a little negative connotation, and you may want to think about change. And I'm like, listen, first of all, everybody I've talked to about the name Reverse the Church, it's grabbing, it's gripping. And I'm like, you're the same person that probably Kanye would show one of his sneaker designs to, and you tell him it'd never work. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want anything you got to say, you know? And they basically said to me, Brian, that they needed a job. They almost quote, exact quote, they needed a job and they also needed health insurance. That's why they're working with the ADA. That, and I just, it blew my mind. And I told them, I said, listen, ADA works for corporations. They don't work for the people. So, you know, move on, you know? So I try to be vocal because, you know, I feel like we should be, you know, we could look at other people who are very vocal, and whether they're rappers or singers or actors, and they're very vocal and they have no problem with it. I think we're at times a little shy and scared to work together or be vocal on certain situations when we have rock stars that are saving people's lives every day.
Yeah, I think it's so important that you kind of get a cause, and then you know, not just sell out to make a paycheck or get your health insurance,
Yeah.
right? Because part of it's like you need to have good health. I mean, that's the most important thing. So I think a lot of us, you know, we just get so caught up in daily life and craziness that they don't really think about it. I think the church, when I see it, is, you know, when I sit in church on Sunday, I see how devastated. I see a lot of people that could be effective in the ministry, but they're 400 pounds and they can't get out. They physically can't do it, emotionally can't do it. And it's hard because people don't take you seriously, you know, and it's, you know, it's a health part of it. And I think, you know, and what happens at church, they give donuts on Sunday mornings. They do, you know, they're giving all the worst stuff, and it's causing people to get more and more sick. And it's like at church, there'll be a joke. Sometimes the pastor will go, oh, the doctor's here, so don't tell them you're eating donuts today, that type of thing. Right. But it is really a pervasive thing. And in the church, we feed each other and love each other. And that's how we show love. If someone's spouse is sick or dies, you know, everyone brings them food for a month, you know, that kind of thing. So food is a big part of our culture too, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, it really is. And that's why, you know, this particular, you know, series, I think is a game changer, because, you know, what we're doing is really reversing the health of a whole congregation. And at times, you know, it starts from the top. And obviously, you know, I don't think they mean to not, you know, want everyone to be healthy. Of course they do. But, you know, I mean, I was looking at one big pastor yesterday, and for a little clip that he had on that I was bumping on, and I'm like, okay, the pastor is about, you know, 90 pounds, 100 pounds overweight, you know, and so it starts from the top, and we want to work with them because we know that, you know, keeping our temples right for God and is key and important. And what we do in that one church can send ripples around the country to be able to create more of a bigger program where we could possibly go into scores of churches or temples or synagogues, whatever it may be, to implement a plan of change. And we know that it really takes, you know, some simple changes. You know, this is not a big overhaul. It's just, you know, I did a interview the other day, and they were talking. I brought up the whole health thing, and it hit off really well. But as they're talking and they're going on what is good to eat, and you're like, oh yeah, bananas are good, you know, and then and this, that, and I'm just listening. I'm like, wow, okay, you know, they really are so uneducated on nutrition. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, this we'd be surprised at how uneducated people really are, and with just a little bit of tweaking, you know, someone can totally change their life.
Yeah, I think that's so important because so many things we've been told that are healthy, and then we realize, oh my gosh, my sugar spiked. So I like to have continuous glucose monitors. I'm actually wearing one now, as a matter of fact. And so you can see what's the effect of the food, not your opinion or my opinion, what's the effect? And then you can kind of change your diet likewise and say, oh, whenever I eat that, my sugar spike. Okay, let me skip that and see what happens. So especially for our diabetic patients or people on the verge of diabetes, they could really educate themselves and make great choices and change what they're doing.
Yeah. So we're excited. You know, obviously we have season 2 out right now of Reversed, and this one we shot in Costa Rica, and we used ketogenic and intermittent fasting as basically the tool to do it. And we brought together obviously some of the best. You know, Dr. Ken Berry, who is and was amazing on set. Maria Emmerich, who is a guru in what she does and just a joy to have on set. some local doctors out of Costa Rica, because we shot in Costa Rica, Dr. Vega and some other folks who came in here and there, and you know, the results at the end of the day are going to be unbelievable. I mean, even past what I even thought, and it's a reality. And once again, I don't think we taught them anything that was, you know, out of this world, that they needed, you know, study books or anything like that. It was just really sitting down with them, looking them in the face, and giving them the information on why, you know, this particular, you know, lifestyle works. And you know, I look at, you know, keto and things like that as great tools. I mean, you know, low carb is also a great tool. Just knowing what's going inside your mouth and knowing what, you know, shouldn't be going inside your mouth is a great tool. You don't have to stick to any one thing, but if you're educated, then you'll know, okay, no, you know what, I shouldn't be eating this today. You know, I shouldn't be eating this at all. You know, I'll stay away from this and I'll choose this. You know, one of the guests actually, you know, obviously went from learning the keto and then kind of adapted to the carnivore diet, you know. So, you know, that you know, people can adapt, they can switch, they can change, they could figure it out what works best for them. But we know that low carb and staying away from the sugars and the starch and things like that, and eating real good food and not staying away from the processed food is a life changer. And drinking water and doing a little bit of walking, exercise, and cardio is a game changer.
And bringing in a team like you had, Maria Emmerich, you know, all these people are great people that we all look up to. So it's awesome to have a dream team together and say, okay, we're going to hit from all these different angles, because she's doing good food that you enjoy. It's not like you're eating Melba toast or whatever that you know, struggled with all those years like I did. So, you know, and I think it's so important, like you said, and I think that's a critical point, is it's one size fits one. It's not one size fits all. So some people can get away with more carbs than others. Some people can exercise differently. Some people are great at fasting. Other people hate it. Some people like to be carnivore. Other people want to be more on the vegan spectrum. But
Yeah.
getting rid of the processed junk food and then saying, okay, where do I feel best? How does my body, and being able to really self-experiment with experts who know what's going to work a majority of the time.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think that, you know, you have to kind of look at what works best for you, where you want to be. I know where I want to be is very different than someone else, and someone else's goals. You know, some of the people on the show have lost upwards of 70 pounds since the show. That's only what, 5 months ago. So it's a game changer, and I think they're still going as far as weight loss and where they want to be. So, you know, it really is adapting, but the information is there. You know, my goal and hope is to continue doing these great series that we can all work together and bring some amazing keep bringing these experts out who, you know, may have a voice, but let's face it, I mean, if we work together, we could really take that voice to the next level, right? And make some of these people, you know, the rock stars of health, right? I mean, a lot of people look at Britney Spears and Justin Bieber and as the stars of music, but, you know, we have stars of health that are actually saving lives each day. You know, one of the things that I'm also, and we just launched to as well, is on my own network. It's called Your Health Network, and both season 1 and season 2 is airing there. And I created the Your Health Network, and we have some big plans for that. Because what I wanted and saw a need, Brian, is that there's no 24-hour, 7-day-a-week network that brings health information in a way that is cool, right? So if you look at the series Reverse, I mean, we're using keto and intermittent fasting and low carb to change lives. So if we could do the same thing on a network that has, you know, some of the best doctors that have reality shows or talk shows or cool series. So, you know, we're working on the Maria Emmerich cooking show that is going to not just be a cool cooking show, but also kind of share a little bit of her life and her day-to-day with her beautiful family. We're working on the you know, Dr. Ken show with him and his lovely wife, and to be able to kind of see Dr. Ken on a day-to-day basis and some of his passions, and hang out with him and his wife at home, and kind of see them, in a different light, so that people can really gravitate toward that, and then create, a bunch of other shows. And obviously, Reverse the Church could, be a great place for that to air as well. And then, other shows that we have on deck. We want to create a diabetes channel. We want to create a cancer channel. We want to create a sickle cell channel, so that people who are looking for this information is a one-stop shop, and they can go here and they could sit for hours watching people who are going through what they're going through, or get the information for, where to get treated, how to get treated, what you need to be treated for, what are the symptoms that you may look for. So, we're trying to be the WebMD per se of digital and creative content. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah, it's really cool because, and also for people that, a lot of people think they're the only ones who are, 450, 500, 600 pounds at home. And when they realize, oh my gosh, there's a lot of people out there like me, and then you can build a community around that, or sickle cell disease, or all these other illnesses that, a lot, like you said, people don't even know they have diabetes. I just got, a friend of the family type thing, their labs back. I'm like, he's full blown diabetic, and he didn't know. Right. So, because he hasn't seen his doctor, I go, I'll just order labs for him. Like, we got to talk. Right. So, and it's hard because he had no idea. And so many times people just don't know that they have high blood pressure, or all these health problems that are very dangerous. So bringing it to the forefront. I think also what I like about your channel is like, okay, you can watch that and not watch the news and hear all the bad stuff that's going on, and all the, negativity. When you say, hey, look, we're working as a team. When you see people healing and getting better, it brings hope to people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. And I think that, I encounter that all the time. People know what I do, and I have messages on a regular basis where people are like, oh, Charles, I have diabetes, what do I do? And I'm like, man, why didn't you come to me, when you knew I was doing this, and take precautions or ask questions. And so, but, there needs to be a place. And one of the things why I create these television series or documentaries is because also there's a big lack of advocacy. All right. I mean, when is the last time you've seen an infomercial or a commercial promoting, testing for diabetes? When's the last time you've seen something, that gave a positive information or encouragement on sickle cell, or on, or something positive on cancer? You don't see it, right? These companies are making billions of dollars. They put little to nothing in these companies. They may find a celebrity spokesperson that they pay a few $1,000,000 to do some ad campaigns. And that's that. I mean, I like to compare it to having the only gas station within, 100 miles. You don't have to advertise, right? So they don't need to do anything out of the box to market or encourage people with diabetes to check themselves or get tested or things like that, because they know every day there's going to be new diabetics. Every day there's going to be new people who have heart conditions or need to be on dialysis. And that's just the fact of it. So
yeah, treatment pays a lot more than prevention, right? Prevention's not, people don't know that they're going towards a cliff, and if you can steer them away from the cliff, they don't even know what they were going towards a lot of times. But it's that satisfaction of knowing, okay, I prevented, you change your oil, you don't wait till you blow up your engine. Our medicine system right now is that we wait till you blow up your engine and go, okay, we have the best mechanics to fix your engine. It's like, well, we could have just changed the oil and we wouldn't have been blowing up the engine if we would have just been looking along the way, right? But there's no push for that.
Yeah. And you know what? And I'm gonna tell you, Brian, even when it comes to working with pharmaceutical companies, I look at it as, listen, I want to be a benefit to them. Why? And if we just use diabetes, well, number one, we need to test more people. So if we have a program that is supported by, let's just say, a pharmaceutical company, and we are able to get the message out there as far as testing, then that means that there's millions of people who can be now tested because they're able to see this program and know that some company got behind it and actually cares about people, right? Because I used to work with, I remember I was a keynote speaker with one of these big companies, and when you hear them talk, it's all about reaching the people and making change and this, that, and the other thing. But then when it comes to change, they're confused on how to make change. And they fly us in to sit in a hotel conference room for 3 days trying to figure out how to reach those with type 2 diabetes. And it's funny because I would say to them, listen, I've got a television show that you guys could work with me on, and we can reach type 2 diabetics. And Brian, they didn't, they would rather spend $1 million on flying people from literally Europe, Brazil, and all these places, and staying in a hotel for 3 days and all of this kind of stuff, and flying in television, a camera crews from the UK, instead of saying, hey, Charles, let's sit down and see what we can do. We like what you're talking about. I mean, no, that's they like to pat each other on the back, Brian. They like to continue the game of we want to help and create programs within these companies that they spend millions of dollars on to figure out how we're going to reach those with type 2 diabetes. And it could be right in front of them. But remember, they hire people and hire marketing companies that will go on and to help them with this new campaign of reaching people with type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, when it's such a simple solution sometimes, getting, especially if you've already built the car, they just have to drive the car and help pay for it, right? So yeah, it is discouraging. I think that's a very, very common theme that we hear. If they don't have something to really gain from it, it's that altruism goes away very quickly, so, and it is hard because a lot of our approach is saying, look, let me diagnose the diabetes and I'm going to try to change lifestyle. Like what you're doing, I was thinking about it. I used to love when it first came out, America's Biggest Losers. Like, wow, look at these people. But you realize that was a short-term fix, and all those people gain their weight back and their life goes back miserable. So I think the important thing is what you're doing is teaching them, and the emotional side of it. That's a huge part of it, because it's not just hunger, right? It's that emotional side. Why are you eating all the time? Why are you always hungry? And you say, well, if I can't have bread, life's not worth living. Really, I mean, there's a lot of people that are in that mindset that they want their cake no matter what, and they'll shoot insulin and have the cake. But it's really, what you're doing is helping people. And I think what we're all trying to do is saying, look, let's make this sustainable. You go off the rails a little bit. Okay, it's your wedding or birthday or whatever. Okay, let's just get back on track and make it a lifestyle, long stretched out. Not, I'm going to lose 100 pounds right now and then I go back to doing what I was doing. That mindset is what has to change too. That has to reverse.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things we do, I mean, it's a small group, but we kind of all stay in contact and encourage each other. And, so I think that the follow-up is also key. And we also use mental health experts that come in and are able to kind of figure out, why somebody is not making the change, what they need to do to make the change. If there's, anything in the background that is hindering them, and what we do too as well is take them to, obviously you can't do it with everyone, but we take them kind of to a nice tropical place so that they're able to just get their minds off of bills, off of family, off of maybe coming home to somebody who isn't supporting them the way that they need to have to be supported, and we give them that information, and by the time they leave, they're new people. But and I say this is by the time they leave, we know that we did what we could, and hopefully they'll stick to what they can. I look at Lisa, and I look at her, knowing that her husband passed away. He was on the first series, and unfortunately Roger didn't come to Jamaica to take diabetes seriously at all. He actually came, he was smoking cigarettes. He was not interested in the changes. We hoped that he would be. And he passed away from probably about a year and a half later from diabetes complications. Whereas Lisa has gone on to lose upwards of 70 pounds, come off of medication, come off of an insulin pump that she's been on for 13 years. I mean, game changing. So when we look at that and we think, you know what, man, we may have just given Lisa another 10 years of life. So yeah, we know that we're doing good work. And once again, there are companies, I just read a company that just brought in $140 million to reverse type 2 diabetes. And it blows my mind because I'm like, man, we're doing this for the peanuts over here. We got to figure out what to do, another game plan here.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's marketing and getting the word out and having PR, and they put a ton of money into all those things, right? And so when you start realizing you can start reaching people with them, because they're going to connect. What I find doing this podcast too, there's a lot of people that go, yeah, what you're talking about, Brian's fine, but this guest really touched me, or what this person said. Certain individual stories just reach people, and someone else gets reached by another person. It's like, wow, I didn't know it impacted that much. So what have you learned? Are there some things that have surprised you on this journey, or things that you've learned that you go, wow, I didn't realize that was so important in getting health back?
I would say that maybe I think I've been a little naive, and I'm a creative person, so at times I look at what we do as creative and trying to reach people and touch lives. I think that during that process, when you have a real loving heart, you're like, man, I just want to create these amazing series and have them change lives and touch people. And once again, I think, I thought that the support would be through the roof when you're talking to some of these companies. I just reached out to the CEO of LifeScan, and I'm like, hey, I would love to work with you. And she responded back and so on and so forth. But you kind of know that, once she gets it to the marketing team or to that, to the rest of the team, it'll probably be shot down 6 ways from Sunday, right? And knowing that we're doing great work. And, you're just dealing with, a lot of closed minds, a lot of people, Brian, who are really just working a job. And they go from diabetes to cancer to HIV and jump from job to job. And there's no real passion in what they do. That's why I kind of want to bring out the people who really do this for passion and love. So, I think I've been a little bit naive in trying to bring the right people together. But then you do find the right people who say, hey, let's get behind this. Because remember, it's not me that's being showcased. I want to showcase you guys. I want to showcase the amazing people in healthcare. It's not me that wants to create something to put me on a pedestal. I want to showcase the Dr. Kens, the Bryans, the Dr. Berries, the Maria Emmerichs, the Jason Fungs. The list goes on. That's why I'm doing this. So I think what I've learned is really that you kind of got to put a business hat on too as well, and realize that you're fighting a bigger system. But we will continue to grow, and I still learn about my health every day from these amazing people that I'm around, and how to live the best and healthiest life that I can. And it's always a process, but it's a process that we keep fighting.
Yeah, I think it's so important. We all learn from each other. Say, well, let me try this. Like you said, some people switch over to keto or intermittent fasting. What works for you ultimately? And I think just in talking with you, I'm just seeing how important it is just to, like, your perseverance of just saying, okay, I believe in this, I'm going to keep going. And you get doors slammed in your face, and you have to talk to so many people. You have to be a salesperson too, right? And I was thinking, how much does pharma spend on naming a product? How much do they spend on getting this cute little cartoon ad, right? And all these things. And you realize, man, if we just got to the people and tried to help them. And I'll tell you, I have my own little reverse I got to do. Some people said there's these ladies up in Vacaville, California, that they're obese, diabetic, don't speak English. We don't think you can help them, but do you want to give it a shot? So who would I reach out to some people that you all also had, and they were fantastic in lending support, sending free product. I'll say Ben Bickman from Health Code, right? I have no financial interest with any of these people. Keto Mojo, they were there. They go, we'll drop off meters. We'll give them ketone meters. We'll give them sugar stuff. We'll just take care of it. And I said, look, this is a poor crowd. It's not a business move. And they go, we know, we want to help, right? Yeah. Simply Snack Incentive stuff. And so all these different companies said, Rosette's, who's Tro's wife, she sent a bunch of stuff for, they want to have cake, they could have low carb cake if they want to do it for someone's birthday, and not have donuts and all these other things. So to see all these other people jump in, they didn't want any glory, they didn't want anything mentioned. They just said, okay, I'll jump in and help, right?
Yeah, that's rare. Once again, I think those are, I hate to say at times the smaller brands, right? Because they actually do it because they have a heart, whereas these big ones are, it's just about the bottom line, and we as human beings are their bottom line. And that's just the reality of it. So, there are millions who are like us. There are millions who want to eat healthy, live healthy, drink healthy, exercise, hear positive things. We are bombarded by pure negativity all day, but there's millions and tens of millions who want to hear relaxing things, want to hear calming things, want to read, want to write, want to give back to other people. And that's what we're kind of trying to attract over here on this side, especially with the network, are those millions that really want to see change and aren't interested in all the madness and the craziness and so that's what we're trying to attract on this side.
Yeah, I think that's so important. So many of these people, once they have success, they want to help everyone else around them. So I have people, they're the one person in their community who gets it, and they're helping their neighbor. They're telling me, hey, my neighbor lost 20 pounds. This one came off insulin. This one, you're like, wow, this 82-year-old lady is impacting her community because she's excited and she wants to help everyone, right? So I think when you start building, and that's why Reverse the Church is so attractive to me too, is because once you get some people, like this church can reach out to other churches and say, hey, let me help you. Let's send a member over and what they're doing. And I've seen that happen. We actually did some stuff like that in the church that was on Fat Fiction, actually, the movie. And it's amazing. Like I see people now, they go, hey, I'm down 80 pounds still. Hey, I'm off my meds. And I was like, this is so cool. I love to see that, right? Not everyone. A lot of people just go back to their old ways and they just kind of struggle. And, but the people who get it, if you can build a community of people who get it, you could do great things. And just think how much that saves the healthcare system, with insulin and amputations and dialysis. And, the average diabetic dies 6 years before their friends, right, of the same age. So and plus, not only that, that's just life, but having to go to doctor's appointments all the time and amputations and wounds and all those kind of horrible things that we all see. So to be able to say, I'm not going to let it get to that point, let's intervene before it's there. So that's why what you're doing is so powerful. We definitely support you. And so tell people now, how do they find your show or find you or
Definitely. Yeah, I'm easy to find. I would probably direct everyone to the Your Health Network, which is yourhealthnetwork.com. So that's yourhealthnetwork.com. We've got some great shows on there. We've got a beautiful series called 8 Days, a cancer series where we took 5 people living with cancer, brought them to Mexico, and did some amazing work. Beautiful series. We've got Reverse season 1 and 2. We've got a Trial by Fire, which is a documentary based on complex regional pain syndrome, CRPS. We've got the Diabetic You, which is a documentary that takes us literally around the world. And we're looking for some great shows. So if there's a doctor watching right now and wants their own talk show or TV show, hit us up. If there's someone who wants to do a cooking show that's all about low carb, keto, or whatever it may be, healthy, hit us up. And we're looking to take this to the next level and reach the masses and create something very, very exciting for those who are looking for better health.
And how about if people want to watch Reverse that's now out? Where do they find that?
Yeah, they can find it on Your Health Network.
Okay.
They can also find it on glued.tv, so Blue TV. It will be coming November 1st to Cox Communications, which is nationwide, 3rd biggest cable provider in the country. And then also PBS, probably in December, January.
Perfect timing. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, Charles, hey, thanks so much for joining me. I don't want to take too much of your time. I really appreciate you coming on, and hopefully get you on my other podcast talking about Reverse the Church. I'm excited about that project for sure. I think it's going to really impact people, and because you have a great community already, and then once they get passionate about something and get behind something, it's pretty amazing what can be accomplished.
I appreciate the time, and thanks for having me on.
Hey, man, keep up the good work.
Yeah, talk soon.